Welcome back to another episode of the North Star Takes podcast. I'm Bailey Paulicki. He's Jacob Liberta, and we're a Minnesota sports podcast. So if you're a Minnesota sports fan, this is your one-stop shop for all things Minnesota sports. And this week we're hitting Minnesota Timberwolves hard because their draft is coming up here within the week. And, next Thursday night they have the draft, and they have pick 19. It's nothing terribly exciting, but it's also a good thing because they missed out on the lottery for once. I think it's the second time in the last, 17 years or something that they've missed out on the lottery, which is a great thing. It means they had a good season, obviously a very exciting team. So let's just jump into our next prospect here, Liberta. We've already kind of gone over a couple different guys that could be options for the Timberwolves. Mark Williams, probably not going to be an option at 19. They'd probably have to trade up to go get him. And then we recently went over E.J. Liddell as well. Let's talk about another intriguing player who had a very good season this past season for LSU. Tari Eason. He's a 3 and he's a 4. He's kind of a tweener. What are your thoughts on him? What do you like about him?
I think this guy can be very explosive and just versatile, I guess I would say, just because his main offensive game is just attacking the rim, scoring a lot in the paint. He's got a lot of athleticism, and he can also see the court very well. It's one of the things he's commended for is his court vision. The only problem is the downside to his offensive game is he just not much of a shooter at this point, mid-range or three-point shooting. So that would have to come along. But I mean, that's something that guys can really, I honestly improve at least a little bit. Or I'd say if you're lacking, it can be improved with NBA coaching. But I mean, what do you do more than anything else as far as practice goes when you play basketball shoot? So like you'd imagine that'll come along. But kind of moving off that, as far as defender goes, he's known to be able to guard 1 through 4. So I think that would add some tremendous, honestly, defensive prowess to a team like us that really values that. I mean, especially with the likely departure of Josh Okogie coming, and then obviously we like J-Mac and we like Vanderbilt a lot, and then you got Easton to that, just a really versatile, bigger guy that can really play with almost anybody. So I think that'd be highly coveted. I mean, the guy too, he averaged 17 a game at LSU last year, 6.5 rebounds. So I mean, he can do a little bit of everything. And he also, whenever it comes to drafts or it's the NFL, NBA, whatever, I mean, everybody likes to talk about hand size, at least more so with quarterbacks in NFL. But I just, of note, Tari Eason, he has the biggest hands in this draft class. And then he also has a 7'2" wingspan, which is ridiculous for a guy that's 6'8". So he's got a long reach. So this is a athletic profile you like a lot.
Yeah, he seems to be a very intriguing type player. I mean, he's only 6'8", but like you said, if he can guard positions 1 through 4, I mean, that's extreme flexibility. You know, if you get him on the court at the same time with like a Jaden McDaniels, who's also, I mean, he's probably more like 6'9", 6'10", but he's got an insane wingspan as well. I mean, you got some real length out there on the court if you put those two out there together at some point. So yeah, that's really intriguing. And the fact that he can also score on offense, I think, is huge as well. Like you mentioned, not a very polished shooter, but that's okay. I mean, Anthony Edwards was by no means a polished shooter coming out of college. I still wouldn't say he is, although he's improved tremendously since he's been in the league. So we've seen firsthand that, you can improve your shot. And, it seems like this guy's got a pretty good work ethic about him. He plays hard. And I think he's a very intriguing type player. And this almost excites me a little more than E.J. Liddell, just because there's a lot more flexibility there. There's a bit more scoring there. It is, E.J. Liddell did play in the Big Ten, which is a great, college basketball conference. And, LSU isn't exactly known for producing great college or great pro players. That is where Naz Reid is from. So there is that connection there.
Ben Simmons too.
Yes, Ben Simmons. Yes, the very popular Ben Simmons. But
yes.
Which the Timberwolves should not be trading for at this point. I don't think there wouldn't be any reason to do that at this point. I know last year at this time it was quite the hot rumor that, let's move D'Lo and Beasley for Ben Simmons, and thank God they did not do that. So anyways, yeah, I think very intriguing player. I still would like to have more size, more, just another guy that can defend the rim. But at the same time, Eason's probably the next best thing in terms of just having the length, the defensive prowess, like you said, and then, being able to score on offense. He wouldn't even be a top 3 or 4 scoring option on this team. So the fact that he could even chip in a little bit relatively easily, I think would be huge.
Yeah, absolutely. If nothing else, I think if this guy can catch balls in the paint and kind of rim run a little bit, I think that's really all you need from him at this point, the way the team is structured. Like you said, we have a lot of perimeter shooters, where it's like, sure, I'd like to have that flexibility if he could space it out a little bit more and hit mid-range shots or something from the corner. But at the same time, like if he's not like Vando and can catch the ball, in the paint and make things happen right around the rim, I think that's really all you can ask for right now. So I
Yeah.
get excited about that. And then again, having that defensive versatility, just another guy that you can potentially throw on, just really a mismatch of a player if you're going against one. So I'd really enjoy that too.
Yeah. I guess any other final thoughts from you on Tari Eason? I think this is a very intriguing one, and I think it's very realistic that he'll still be there at 19. I've seen quite a few mock drafts that have him going to the Wolves at 19. So, what are your thoughts there? Do you see him going a little earlier, a little later? Do you think 19 is just about right?
The teens feels pretty right for him, I would say. Again, it's hard to know with some of these mock drafts, and some of them can be all over the board, but it feels kind of in this range. This feels like another realistic one, like Liddell is going to be too. So I would admire the selection, and yeah, it's just another one of those where it wouldn't be like at the top of my board, but I would still feel pretty good about walking away from draft night with him, and also give the SEC a little love as far as college basketball goes. I think they've gotten better the last number of years, I
They
would say,
definitely
because
have.
for a while it was Kentucky and nobody else, but now I feel like other programs are kind of emerging. I know Bruce Pearl and Auburn is getting better. I know LSU feels like they make the tournament quite frequently now, and
Hmm.
albeit with some shady circumstances surrounding the program, Will Wade and everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, they put a lot of teams in the tournament now. Arkansas, they're pretty good. So it's like they play good competition. So I mean, can't ask much more than that either. So I I think he could make this transition to NBA, and he's got a few more, or he's a couple of years younger than, for instance, Liddell is by only playing college basketball 2 years. So
Hmm.
that's something to consider too, along with the rest of the young guys that we got on this team already.
Right. Yeah, that would just help contribute to us being one of the youngest teams in the NBA, and we're on the rise. So that makes
Yeah,
it exciting too. As fun as it would be to, trade this draft pick and maybe package it with some seconds and a player and go get another, bench type player or whatever. Um, I still think it's fun to draft and develop players as well. And I know that's been hard for Timberwolves fans because there's been so many misses over the years. But I feel like as of late, minus Jarrett Culver, really, the Wolves have done a pretty good job in terms of drafting and developing. So I'd kind of like to see that streak continue, I guess, with this year's draft.
yeah, and that's supposed to be Tim Connolly's fastball, is
Sure.
identifying talent in the draft and not even in great positions to take players and figuring it out and making it happen. So I I trust him. I mean,
Hmm.
this is a really exciting time. It's going to be his first big task as Wolves GM. So yeah, looking forward to that too.
Yeah, absolutely. So that will do it for this edition of the North Star Takes podcast. Like I mentioned earlier, please click that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and help spread the word about our channel to Minnesota sports fans all over the place. We love talking Minnesota sports, and this is a good place to find some Minnesota sports talk. So give us a follow on both Twitter and Instagram, and then let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. What do you think about Tari Eason? Do you think he's a fit for the Timberwolves? Do you see him as more of a 3 or a 4? Um, or do you want nothing to do with him at all? And let us know, maybe some other prospects that you might be interested in as well. So until next time, thanks for watching.